Good evening, everyone, for the Fitchburg Common Council for the June 25, 2024 meeting. So the first thing is to call to the order to the meeting at 7:30 p.m. Second, please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Allen.
Present.
Mayor Radafrada.
Here.
Alder Dantzler Jr.
Here.
Alder Gerhardt.
Here.
Alder Herbst.
Here.
Alder Jetzer.
Here.
Alder Maldonado.
Here.
Alder Vafadari.
Here.
Alder Wheeler.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, 1 second. So next, we move to item 4, public appearances for non-agenda items and new appointments. So the first thing that we have is I'm going to open the public hearing on Mayor's proposed 2025-2034 capital improvement plan. Do we have anyone to wish to speak about the CIP? I am calling Patrick Cheney. He wishes to speak in opposition or something and answer questions.
Oh, you'll know.
You have 3 minutes, Patrick.
Yep, I got my own timer.
Okay.
6259 reads 2024 new volleyball posts new volleyball posts, $10,000, which is in a property tax levy. I am refuting all the defenses from the finance meeting of last night. The council is still in charge for a 2024 item. The McGaw volleyball posts and cable winders do not need replacement. They are rock solid. Council alders, go see these courts for yourself and you will see the proof in person. Alder Herbst met me there last year to see these and agreed these are working fine. For a contentious issue, council should investigate, ask all the hard questions, and issue decisions. No problems or failures on posts or cable winders at McGaw or at McKee, which are in the same condition. Think of this as your own property tax check, spent to remove good posts and winders for $10,000 and replace with the very same posts and winders. Why? The money stays in 6259 for actual worthwhile projects later. Alder Vafadari, for safety, is it good for kids and people who don't know how to use tools to mess with the winders on the cable tension winders? Do-it-yourself applies to tennis and pickleball net cables all the same. It is the responsibility of the park staff to provide good operating equipment and it only takes a socket wrench and a 3/4 inch socket, which I forgot to bring in and show you. I suggested drain tiles and adding sand for a couple $100 for McGaw and McKee tennis courts, but this was largely ignored. Last year, this failed by only 1 vote, and I will talk with Alder Wheeler more about that for this year. 6263, McGaw tennis court removal idea. No, do not remove these neighborhood courts. Save on the demolition cost and leave these alone. As Alder Jetzer and as I noted and as I see, people play tennis, pickleball on these dual-striped courts, and archery lessons are here also, since the wild flying arrows missing the targets don't hit anybody. Non-avid players out for fun avoid the pros on the big courts and the embarrassment. Courts are not unsafe. McGaw tennis courts are cool. They're shaded by large pines and better than all the other hot box courts. Leave these alone as is, with an option to resurface them in the future, as done many years ago, very economically. I'm asking for amendments in some form of a declaration to not allow these. Require prior written justification plan with multiple verified local resident requests before any work. No one known has asked for this. These are unfounded, unproven, unexplained staff ideas. Any questions?
No. Thank you, Patrick. Any other ones who want to speak up in this public hearing? No? Okay, I am closing the public hearing for the CIP. Okay, so next I have 2 residents that they wish to speak a non-agenda item. So I'm going to call Jerry and Kathy Neitzel. They wish to speak regarding a stormwater issue, and then I'm going to call Dave Wilbur. Okay? So you have to say your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. We are Jerry and Kathy Neitzel, Fitchburg residents at 2482 South Scion Road for the past 26 years. And then should I begin?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Our property backs up to the railroad and one neighbor, and in 2007 and 2008, that neighbor replaced their existing garage with a newer, larger garage and raised their property without submitting a plan to change the stormwater flow, and added downspouts and gutters on this building and directed that onto our property. They also added fill at the back corner of their property where it joins our property and is the managed flow area for the stormwater runoff, increasing the ground level of this area significantly, and later added trees and vegetation to that area. This fill blocks the natural flow of stormwater that flows into a swale going under the railroad tracks and down to a flow area. Since they block the flow of stormwater, rather, the grass and flowers in our yard have died in multiple areas on our property, and our property is a mud pit. Even last year with the drought conditions, this area never dried out. The raised water level has also caused frequent water in our basement and a flood in 2019, which damaged our home foundation and other property. With standing water often in this area, the mosquitoes are horrendous. And when we attempt to work in that area, we are unable to, and my husband has even gotten a skid loader stuck multiple times in that area, and work is impossible. We have appeared before the Board of Public Works many times seeking assistance with this matter. On our very first appearance, we specifically asked if there was an ordinance in place to address this situation, especially since we pay stormwater maintenance tax with our taxes every year. City engineer at that time came to look at the situation and told us that it was clear that the neighbors had added a 16 to 18 inch of fill in the area and provided us with a topographical map as evidence to support that. That is in the packet for the city. The engineer left Fitchburg shortly after that. In an ensuing meeting, we were told that there was no specific ordinance to address this or anything to support the change by the neighbor, and that the city has no responsibility in this matter, and that we would have to address it in a civil court. Next, city engineer came out and also looked at the grade and flow of the road shoulder driveway and addressed a team to come out and regrade that area to help with the flow off of the road in front of our property. The next engineer, Bill Balke, became the city engineer. He had little interest in investigating this situation, told us the city had no ordinance related to the matter. Further, he indicated there was no topo map, existing to support our claim. In between all of these meetings, I personally researched and found 2 ordinances that address this issue. One of them specifically is talking about blocking areas of flow of water, and the other is an actual one addressing a stormwater runoff and changing stormwater runoff. I have provided copies of those also in the packet. When the current city engineer was hired, we attempted to be heard again to address this issue. After seeing the topo map and the ordinance at the meeting that we were at with the Board of Public Works, the city engineer was directed to prepare a letter to our neighbors requiring they restore the drainage swale, allowing the natural flow of stormwater runoff.
Kathy, your 3 minutes are up. I don't know, you want your husband to continue your rest of your 3 minutes? Jerry? No? Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
as I
you
said, I
can
did-
finish and ask what do you need from us? You can tell us.
At the end of the letter that I actually provided a copy
Yeah.
in the packet, we're asking the alders to direct the city to take action as we have requested before, to stop letting the person ignore the stormwater runoff issue they have caused and to fix it, and to help us make our property manageable and livable again. The entire backside of our property is constantly mud. As I said, even last year during the summer, with the drought, it still did not dry up. And it's mosquitoes and mud, and we can't even maintain our property and work there. We want to clean up, we want to do work back there, and we can't. So, and they've complained about that area back there, and you'll say there's been a little bickering back and forth. You created the issue, we can't fix it.
Okay, no,
So,
thank
and
you.
we just hope that the city can recognize there's an ordinance in place that they're not allowed to change stormwater runoff, especially without a permit, and they have done that.
Okay, thank you. And I have the complete package.
Yeah,
It's
there's
gonna be part of-
pictures of the yard
Yeah.
after the recent storms.
Okay.
And whatnot. So any questions, my email is also on your form.
Okay.
So, please reach out, and we appreciate your help in advance.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
So next.
Mayor,
Yeah.
could I just ask a quick question? What
Yeah.
was the address again?
2482 South Sain.
And could you send a copy of that packet to the council and mayor email address? Because I don't think the rest of the council has that.
I'll make a
just got
copy
it.
of it and
The
send it.
copy that I gave, I just
Okay.
gave one copy to me.
All right,
I'll
great.
make a copy
Yeah,
and send it to the
Yeah,
council.
we are gonna. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry, what was the address again?
2482.
2482.
Yeah.
It's district.
We're kind of across from Stoneman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. So next, I am calling to David
That's
Wilborn
District 4.
for non-agenda item.
Good evening. For those people who don't know me, I live just up the street, and I've been on the Public Works Boards for many years here. And I'm here in regards to the Deitzels. They've been friends ever since they moved out here. I've been here since mid-'70s. And they did not have any problem with that property until their neighbors decided that they was going to put that garage in, and they filled it in, brought it up a couple of feet at least. And then that's when the water issue started. It wasn't flowing down past the railroad track and underneath like it always did for years. So I just want to come and say that I did see all this, and I've seen it getting worse all the time. And they did find some deals where you have rules to stop that, which they gave you copies of.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know I was just here to speak for them.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we don't have anyone to speak on non-agenda items. So next, we're moving to item 5. Is the consent agenda. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in
I'd
favor?
like to remove the draft minutes.
Huh?
I'd like to remove the draft minutes from the consent
the
agenda.
minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So all those in favor of the consent agenda without the June 11 draft minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. Okay, what is?
Yeah, on the TTC ordinance, it's page 7 of the. It's page 12 of the packet, page 7 of the draft minutes. It's what is it? 7G1. I think the amendments. So it says motion to amend carried. Motion to amend the amendment carried. I think those should be inverted. Motion to amend the amendment carried, and then the motion to amend carried. Maybe because we had like the amendment to the amendment. I just think it's inverted.
I don't know. Tracy?
I could be wrong, but okay. Just wanted to update that.
So we need to change. It's correct.
Am I wrong? I could be wrong.
No, I think you're correct. That's
Yeah.
what it should read. It gets confusing.
Do you want a second?
Sure. Oh, yeah, sure.
change then?
Yeah, by all means.
So then you could just take a vote on the change.
Okay, all those in favor with the to approve the June 11 draft minute with the changes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a change to the agenda. I move that we move up Resolution R-12324 to the top of the agenda.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of moving resolution R-123-24 to up to the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So, okay, so now we have in front of us, we have a lot of people that they want to speak on this. Before I move to that, 1 second. Okay. Okay, here. Okay, before we start the discussion on the resolution, because we have a lot of people that wish to speak, and we have people online, and also we receive a couple of videos. So I'm going to say good evening, everyone that came today to the Fitchburg to discuss the ceasefire resolution. The council and myself, we received numerous written comments via email of Fitchburg residents and others in support and in opposition of the resolution. if I receive an email to my attention, I share that with the entire council. So we received around 17 written comments in favor and 47 in opposition, plus several phone calls in opposition. Since we have plenty of people here that want to speak, more than 10 people, I decided that comments are going to be 90 seconds for public comment, and also the video lengths are all going to be 90 seconds. And then if council member, when it's your turn to speak, I hope you commit to be concise with your comment for respect to everyone's time. I wish to allocate an hour to discuss the resolution, since this is not a city business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call everyone to speak up to the microphone, and then you have to say, I'm going to call your name. You can approach the microphone and say your full name, and if you are a resident of Fitchburg or not. And you have 90 seconds. Okay, so give me a second, and we are going to start with this. Okay, I will call Alan Klugman, who wishes to speak in opposition of this matter.
I'm Alan Klugman. I'm here as the director of the Jewish Federation of Madison. I'm actually a resident of Middleton. War is a terrible, horrendous thing, and the loss of life in Gaza since the 7th of October has been heartbreaking. I think about it all the time. I also think about the fact that it was not Israel that started the war, but it was Hamas by invading Israel and butchering 1,200 people, in addition to raping countless women and men, which is documented in videos that the Hamas terrorists left behind. This resolution does not mention the Hamas role in this tragedy. It does not mention that Israel has already accepted the latest ceasefire proposal made by the U.S., while Hamas has not. It quotes charges of famine in Gaza that have been widely questioned in media outlets all over the world. The resolution quotes statistics without naming sources that verified them. There is no mention in the resolution of the Israeli trauma, which resulted in the opening of 60 mental health centers throughout the country. If you pass this resolution tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it will be a clear message to the Jewish residents of this city. The Jewish Federation has identified 216 households that we know of, along with local Jewish businesses, that they do not matter, and it is no longer safe for them to live or run businesses here in Fitchburg. I choose to believe that it is not what you want to do, but of course the choice is yours.
We call Sasha Kerlow. He wishes to register only in opposition, and he's representing General Beverage. I will call Fred Gant. Is here, Fred? Fred wishes to speak in opposition. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Fred Gantz. I am an attorney by profession, and I am the incoming president of Jewish Federation of Madison. Our federation includes many citizens of Fitchburg and Dane County. I live in Middleton, but not too long ago I was a resident of the city of Fitchburg. I am speaking on behalf of the Jewish Federation of Madison and in opposition to the Fitchburg Common Council resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. This resolution I know has been revised, but I believe it is ill-advised, one-sided, and still misleading. The resolution is astonishing in its failure to mention Hamas, a designated terror organization. Hamas started this war on October 7, in which over 1,200 innocent civilians were murdered, hundreds of women, children, and men were kidnapped, and women were impregnated, and many of these people were taken as hostages and are still hostages. This resolution implies that Palestinians have been taken as hostages, where in fact it was Americans and Israelis who were taken as hostages on October 7th. The U.S. government and President Biden in particular have said repeatedly that Israel is not targeting civilians, and yet this makes reference to the targeting of civilians. The answer, in our view, is not an immediate ceasefire, but the proposal suggested by the United States, which addresses release of the hostages, a 6-week mutual ceasefire, and ensures the delivery
Fred,
of humanitarian
your
aid
time
to
is
Gazans. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fred. I am calling Caroline Sawyer. She wishes to speak in opposition.
Good evening. Do I need to state my address? Do I need to state my address?
You can say you're Fitchburg resident.
Okay, I'm a Fitchburg resident. Madam Mayor, council members, I urge you to oppose Resolution R-123-24. Calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza is both unrealistic and presumptuous. The issues imbricated in the Israel-Palestine conflict are extremely complex, affecting all thinking people, not just the groups the resolution names. Even on less complex situations, Fitchburg residents can take different views. The Common Council should not presume to speak for all on a subject beyond its purview. Nowhere does the resolution refer to Hamas and entities that back it. Maybe a ceasefire is a good idea. Maybe it would destroy the last best chance to hobble a vicious organization. Who among us has the foresight to know? Madam Mayor, council members, I urge you to take the courage to stand against the political convenience of a divisively simplistic stance on a complex situation. In a note on the similar resolution that the Dane County Board approved, Supervisor Husselman wrote, I want to encourage all Dane County residents to recognize the diversity of religions and cultures in our community. I urge you to endorse that recognition of diversity for opinion as well by voting no on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I am calling next Rabbi Jonathan Biach. Okay, thank you. He wishes to speak in opposition.
Good evening, and thank you. Thank you, friends. I would like to urge you to vote in opposition to this resolution for two reasons, mainly. As has been said before, Hamas is not mentioned in this resolution, and that's a problem because Hamas is a known terrorist organization that's been labeled a terrorist organization by the State Department and the Director of National Intelligence. But I think that there's a different reason why voting against this resolution would be important. I want to offer you a little vignette of history, my history. While volunteering on the West Bank this past March, I worked with Palestinian shepherds as they pastured their flocks, helping to de-escalate tensions between them and settlers who would otherwise prohibit them from making a living. When the shepherds discovered that I was Jewish, not merely a rabbi, it was both really, they were surprised and very grateful that I was there to help. It is vital for you through any resolution to oppose prejudice, and I'm glad it mentions that there's no place for Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, or other expressions of bigotry. One need only to look at the news footage of a violent mob this past weekend assaulting Jews outside a synagogue in Los Angeles to know that we need prejudice reduction in our community. So let's calm the waters, let's not excite them. So let us, through such a resolution, encourage people to strengthen intergroup relationships, travel to Israel and Palestine, volunteer their time there. Let us give more and different things than lip service, rather, and it would help bring diverse groups together. Thank you.
Thank you. I will call Reverend Chris Gorton. He wishes to speak in support, and he's representing the Memorial United Church for Christ in Fitchburg.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your time this evening. I am Reverend Chris Gorton, and I am both a resident of Fitchburg and pastor at Memorial United Church of Christ just down the street. And I am speaking tonight in support of the resolution calling for immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Since 2004, our congregation has had an ongoing connection and collaborations and volunteer work with the people of Bethlehem through the work of Reverend Dr. Mitri Rahib. We have been there to work with their schools, their health programs, and Dar al-Kalama University Art and Cultural Center in Gaza, and they also have an extension in the West Bank. As recently as 2016, I myself traveled to Israel and the West Bank for 2 weeks of conversation with a variety of groups. And each day we listened to them with open hearts to stories which greatly hashtag complicate the narrative. Our denomination, the United Church of Christ, has a resolution which I speak from today that says, all people living in Palestine and Israel are created in the image of God, and that bestows ultimate dignity and sacredness to all. It also rejects any theology or ideology, including Christian Zionism, anti-Semitism, or anti-Islam bias that would privilege or exclude any one nation, race, color, or religion within God's universal economy of grace. So thank you for letting me to speak tonight and for listening to our words.
Next, I am calling Lindsay Mindlin. She wishes to speak in support.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Mindlin, and I'm a Middleton Jewish resident. My family and I were very active in our local Jewish community growing up, often spending 3 to 4 nights a week at temple, learning, singing, and praying together. We talked about the concept of B'Tselem Elohim, that all human beings are created in the image of God, and that we should see the humanity in all those we encounter. We spoke often of our commitment to Tikkun Olam, fixing the world, and to building peace for all. I am who I am today because I grew up knowing I was part of a history and community that was committed to fighting injustice worldwide. This is why I'm here, stating my support for adopting this resolution. Civilians in Gaza are dying both by violence and by continued lack of access to basic resources like water, food, and medical care. The U.S. has the power to provide aid and prevent further violence by pushing for a ceasefire. It goes against my values and morals as a Jewish person to sit idly by while people suffer, and it is important to me that our community adds our voices to the call for peace. I believe it is our duty as humans to prevent further loss of life quickly and without discrimination. We need a ceasefire to allow for humanitarian aid to get to the people in Gaza. Please adopt this resolution and add Fitchburg to the long list of people calling for a ceasefire to stop the violence and to save lives. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, I am calling Rita Henriks. She wishes to speak in opposition.
I'm Rita Hendricks, a Fitchburg resident for 19 years. I will be very short. What is the purpose of this resolution? Did you do a resolution in October when civilians were killed, raped, and taken hostage? If you didn't, and you didn't, what is the purpose of this one?
Thank you, Rita. I am calling Tony Hartman. He wishes to speak in opposition.
Testing. Hey, I'm on. Okay. It's not often I find myself on the exact same side as Rita, but I will say that I do tonight, and primarily because I am a big fan of separation of church and state, and can tell you that Wisconsin is well known in that realm already. Most of you are familiar with Americans for Separation of Church and State. There's also FFRF here. And I just really think this does not belong in local politics. There's so much that divides us already. Do we really need something else? Because I've talked to people on both sides of this, and they are all over Fitchburg and all over the place. And at the end of the day, I don't think that Fitchburg passing a controversial resolution like this is really going to be much help. Instead, it'll actually be very damaging. I just wanted to read what Alder Govina Darijan, from District 8 in Madison said. When I initially made the decision to co-sponsor this resolution, a similar resolution, I felt as if I had enough information to make that decision. However, like most other students, I ran into the classic the more you learn, the less you know scenario very quickly. Let me be clear, I did not waver on my vote. He voted in favor. But in every other vote he's taken, I've had the ability to reach out to city staff and attorneys who can provide him with presentations and other professional information so he can make educated decisions. As you may guess, the city does not hire any foreign policy experts, so I did not have the same reliable resources this time around. I grew very frustrated as I questioned the implications of a ceasefire, whether it's the best policy.
Tony, your time is up.
That's all I needed. Thanks,
okay,
guys.
Thank you, Tony. Next, I have Cheryl Strassman. She only wishes to register in opposition. Okay. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so we don't have anyone in the room that wishes to speak? Huh? Who? Oh, Tom Clauder? Okay. Oh, this is, are you planning to speak, Tom? Hey, Tom. Where is it? Oh, okay, okay. Okay, come in. Okay.
Thank you, and thanks for your time tonight. Tom Clutter, City of Fitchburg. Actually, I'm here because I was a former mayor, and I think this hits to the soul of the problem. In reference to this resolution, I did want to make this clear. This resolution did support Hamas. I was told that, and I was wrong. I want to clarify that. I was wrong. That was not what the resolution stated. So I want to state that right away. I also can't believe that I can agree with Tony Hartman. This resolution, keep in mind, did not condemn, as already stated, Hamas. That is huge. Hamas, you should know too, had a ceasefire when they attacked Israel. They were under a ceasefire. You are sitting in these seats to vote. You're not sitting here to abstain. Sometimes I do watch because I'm interested in who votes for what. And there's some alders here that really think they can abstain on everything or quite a few things. That's not what you were elected to do. Also, Madison-Dane County, please don't follow their ways. Please don't follow their ways. I've already heard Dane County did it, so Fitchburg should do it, and so did Madison. We are not either one of those entities. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So next, we are going to call the people that they are online. I will start with Sila Barr.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. My name is Sila Barr, and I support this ceasefire resolution wholeheartedly. I'm a Jewish woman who is appalled and horrified by the ongoing Israeli bombing of Gaza and the deliberate starvation of the Palestinians there. The Hamas attack on October 7th was indeed a war crime. However, it does not justify the extreme response from Israel, which in the past 9 months has included indiscriminate bombing of Gaza with over 30,000 people killed, most of them women and children. Additionally, the Israeli army has bombed hospitals, schools, and mosques, killed aid workers, as well as blockaded food, water, fuel, and medical supplies. This will not bring this region any closer to peace. And the U.S. government is complicit in these terrible crimes. Since we, as U.S. taxpaying citizens, are giving Israel the weapons that are killing and maiming the Gazan people and providing diplomatic cover at the UN. I am speaking to you now because I feel a moral responsibility, both as a Jew and an American, to do everything in my power to speak out and stop the carnage going on in Gaza. It's crucial that we do whatever we can to send a message to President Biden that we must demand a ceasefire. He has the power to stop Netanyahu by issuing an arms embargo. In fact, it's against both U.S. and international law to provide weapons to a foreign country that uses them against innocent civilians. I urge the Fitchburg City Council to do the right thing and vote yes to this ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jeremy Tunis.
Thank you so much for your time. First of all, that last set of comments was just beyond appalling, besides being ridiculously distorted. And for someone who's a professor at UW to actually come forth and say those things was really worrisome. Basically, in a nutshell, this is a ridiculous proposal on so many levels. It's distorted. It makes a mockery of recent and past history and context. And beyond that, it's not something that should be in the purview of a local city governance. There's so many more important things. First of all, like others have mentioned, Hamas brutally attacked, maimed, raped during a prior ceasefire. They have also continued to refuse multiple ceasefire attempts, not only from the United States and Israel, but also from various Muslim countries in the region. None of this is mentioned in this proposal. The members of this body who take seriously facts, reason, history, and judgment must do the right thing and oppose this. I speak on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Jewish Federation of Madison, the largest Jewish philanthropic organization in Dane County. Thank you so much for your time, and please vote against this absurd and embarrassing resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mark Rosenthal.
I grew up in Madison, and I live in Madison today. I'm a retired emergency room nurse. My family went to Temple Bethel, and one of my most influential teachers was a rabbi there, Rabbi Manfred Swarzensky. He was a survivor of Auschwitz. An incredibly important lesson that he taught me was that silence in the face of injustice is unacceptable and makes those who are silent an accomplice to that injustice. That lesson is what brings me here today, to not be silent in the face of murder being done in my name. Since October 7, the Israeli military has killed over 37,600 Palestinians in Gaza and 14,000 children. In addition to Israel's bombing, ground invasion, Palestinians are dying from disease, starvation, dehydration, due to Israel's collective punishment and total siege of all 2.3 million people trapped in Gaza. This is a war crime in which our government is culpable. Genocide is unfolding in real time now and must stop. I want to be clear. I am not a supporter of Hamas for the very same reasons I'm not a Zionist, because I believe in the principles of democracy for all peoples. Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Criticism of Israel is not anti-Semitism. There is nothing Jewish about the murderous campaign in Gaza or the ethnic cleansing taking place in the West Bank. Zionist, yes. Federation type talk, yes. Jewish, no. We must work towards a future without siege, occupation, apartheid, and war. And a basic step that we can take today now in this direction is to support this ceasefire resolution. The struggle for democracy is both global
Mark,
and
your
local.
time is out.
Silence has power and makes a difference in a broken world.
Thank you. Next is Susan Nosal.
Good evening, everyone. I most strongly urge you. Good evening, everyone. I most strongly urge you to vote in favor of the Fitchburg Common Council resolution for a permanent ceasefire. I write to you as I'm speaking to you as a Madison resident and Jewish American to express my utmost horror at the atrocities that the Israeli government is committing against Palestinians in Gaza with the military and financial assistance of the United States. The crimes of Hamas do not justify the collective punishment and the mass murder of Palestinians, civilians by the Israeli government with the aid of the United States. My condolences to those in our community who have lost family and friends in Israel and in Palestine. I've been following the reports from the Nobel Peace Prize winning organization Doctors Without Borders, Medicina Sans Fronteras. They implore medical staff in Gaza have been enduring the unthinkable over the past 7 months of war. This was written a few months ago. Amputating limbs without anesthesia, treating mass crush and burn injuries with extremely limited supplies, and trying to work as Israeli forces have repeatedly besieged hospitals like Nasser and Al-Shifa. MSF reiterates its call for an immediate and sustained ceasefire to prevent more death and destruction to the lives of the people in Gaza. So I just wanted to urge the Fitchburg City Council to join the chorus of people from around the world calling for a ceasefire.
Susan,
and thank
your
you very
time is
much
out. Thank you. So next we have 2 videos. One is from Rabbi Lori Zimmerman, and the other one is from Erika Rosales.
Buenas noches. My name is Erika Rosales Garcia. I currently live in Madison. However, my previous home was Fitchburg for about 5 years, and it's still part of my larger community. I want to express my support for the ceasefire resolution that was thoughtfully and courageously put together by elders Nicole Bafadari and Joe Maldonado. And while the atrocities upon the land of Palestine and its people have been taking place for decades, the current level and severity of these atrocities are at an unfathomable scale, to the point that people that are living in those atrocities have expressed out of desperation that those who have died are the lucky ones. For those who think that Palestine is outside of our scope and it's too far away, it is not. In fact, it's right here in our backyard, as we have Palestinian siblings right here in Madison and Fitchburg and in Wisconsin. As an undocumented person myself, I'm very familiar with what it's like living in fear, with uncertainty, losing hope, being labeled, being dehumanized. And I have felt this for myself, for my family, and for my community. So this ceasefire resolution is not just a statement. It goes way beyond a statement. It is a beacon of hope for our Palestinian siblings. Thank you very much.
My name is Lori Zimmerman. I'm the rabbi of Congregation Shari Shemayim, located in Madison. I'm speaking for myself in favor of the ceasefire resolution. My Jewish values compel me to speak out on the destruction of human life in Gaza. A primary value in Judaism is pikuach nefesh, the obligation to save a life. It takes precedence over all other commandments in Judaism. What could be more important than saving the life of a child, of a pregnant woman, of a doctor, of a journalist, of an elderly person? Every human life is sacred. The destruction of Gaza has created suffering on such a massive scale. Over 37,000 people have been killed and over 85,000 injured. There is no food, no clean water, no electricity, no fuel. Hamas committed horrendous war crimes on October 7th, killing 1,200 people and taking 240 people as hostages. The Jewish community holds so much grief and anger, and we fear the rise in anti-Semitism, but it is not anti-Semitic to speak against war. We must speak up as Israel's right-wing government destroys Gaza. The ceasefire resolution is a small gesture, but it is an important one. Let us not stand idly by.
Okay, so We are at the end of all the public comments. So, do I have a motion?
Move to adopt.
Oh, J. Allen, you have a...
Yeah, I would move to postpone indefinitely Resolution R12324.
Second that motion.
Mayor?
Yes.
I would also like to move to suspend the rules to allow the council, if they wish, each member to speak once on this issue before we vote on the motion to postpone.
Okay. Do I need to ask?
We need a second, and we
I
need
need
to
a
vote
second.
on that.
Second.
The motion to postpone it, or the motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, so all those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, the motion carries. So, so this is the opportunity for the council member to speak up about this resolution. So, yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you to everybody who came to speak. I clearly, as a co-sponsor, felt compelled to speak on this. I ran as a platform of putting children and families first, and to not support this resolution would be a betrayal of my morals, values, and my promise to voters. In 9 months in northern Gaza, 25% of children under 5 are now malnourished. The UNICEF executive director stated, "I have been in wards of children who are suffering from severe anemia malnutrition. The whole ward is absolutely quiet because the children, the babies, don't have the energy to cry." In this same time, 17,000 children have been orphaned or separated from their parents. In 9 months, 13,000 children have been killed. Since introducing this resolution, we have received many emails and calls from constituents, both in support and opposition to the resolution. I have read every single email. I have listened to every single call. I appreciate every moment spent giving feedback. Alder Maldonado and I have met with multiple community members, both in support and in opposition to our resolution. We have taken counsel from people in the Jewish community and heard their concerns and tried to incorporate feedback into our resolution wording. This resolution was intended to urge an immediate ceasefire and to end the military financial support being funded by the American taxpayer to the tune of $3.8 billion per year. It was not intended to isolate members of our community, encourage anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, or make anyone feel othered. My father immigrated to this country, fleeing the Middle East as a person of a religious minority. I experienced and saw for myself and others in my community experience Islamophobia while living in Texas during 9/11. Both Alder Maldonado and I have had our cultures maligned in the past, and we would not want our actions to cause any of the same pain we ourselves have felt. We understand the complexity of this area, and this is in no way us seeking to minimize it. The resolution is not about trying to pick apart a problem or broker a peace that generations have been unable to accomplish. It's not about picking sides or vilifying people or entire cultures. This is why we specifically did not mention any organized entities. It is about people. It's about showing that this body and this city are against funding this conflict and this death with billions of American taxpayer dollars. That we choose families, we choose children and mothers and fathers and siblings and parents, and hopefully one day we choose peace. But for now, we choose to stop being a disproportionately large part of the problem. We choose to implore a removal of our $3.8 billion a year of taxpayer money to help support a war on thousands of people. Thank you.
Thank you. Who is next? Jim.
Yeah, I'm looking at this from a different point of view, and that is, why do we have a nonpartisan council, nonpartisan elections? And one of the reasons is because you want to be very inclusive, and you want to keep people from getting into the politics from outside organizations, international politics, so that we can concentrate on things that are important, that has an impact on Fitchburg. And that's economic development, that's the growth of this city, fiscal responsibility. and we should be reducing divisiveness. But when you have a situation where the international community is divided, the nation's divided, the Jewish community is divided, why would you bring that to a local city council where this has no impact on what the president's going to do? Like the Madison Alder said, this is so complicated, and it's more than just Gaza. Now you got Hezbollah, Iran. So I don't know why we're getting into geopolitics about this. This is very complex. It's been going on a long time. Back in 1973, I remember when President Nixon put the American military on nuclear alert, DEFCON 3. We happened to be driving around and growing up in Philadelphia, a lot of armories there, and we were actually stopped at the intersection where we saw the armored vehicles convoy to South Philadelphia to get on ships. There's been various UN resolutions. There's been various congressional studies on this. We're not going to get into politics and solve this issue. In fact, I think it's probably more powerful if each individual wrote an email to the politicians, because then they'll know that, hey, I got voters out there. I don't know what the 8 of us, because we go, oh yeah, let's do this resolution, is going to really have that much of an impact on what President Biden does, due to the fact that he has a staff of national security advisors. And they're looking at a bigger picture in this Middle East conflict that's been going on for decades, that I don't think that's just calling for a ceasefire. It's just going to be really helpful. And I think it's going to be more divisive to this community than it'd be helpful. So I would like to be one of those who say, let's just stick to local politics, because some of the advantages, some of us don't want to be political. I'm independent. I don't want to be associated. I don't want anybody to put me in the box. In fact, when people think they have all the answers, I change the questions about me, because that's the way I am. So for me, that's why I came on this council, to deal with the local issues and not get into the geopolitical, because the way my mind works, I really go deep dive in this stuff. I mean, the UN came out with an inquiry that basically said that both sides have committed war crimes. So what do we do with that? So I think we should just stay in our lane to what we were actually elected to do, and that is to serve the city of Fitchburg and make Fitchburg a very prosperous place to be.
Thank you, Jim. Who is next? Gabriela.
I have a lot of strong personal feelings about this issue, and I've been on the record in different ways and have reached out to my representatives on the national level about this. And I understand, all respect to Alders Vafadari and Maldonado for bringing this resolution forward, because I understand the calling to speak out on an issue at being a leader in your community. I understand that, and I respect that. And I myself have done what people would consider political speeches in my Alder report on the record, because I felt compelled to do so. So I understand that, and I sympathize with a lot of the sentiments of the resolution, and all the pain in regards to this issue is just it's overwhelming. That being said, when I make decisions on the city council, I feel that we're making decisions. I'm making decisions for all of my constituents that vote for me and all the residents in the city. And I take that very seriously, and I have been through a lot of situations where I make a decision that a lot of people are unhappy with. But I always feel like I have all the information I need to take that vote and to feel confident that I am making the best decision that I know how to make to represent the city of Fitchburg. In this case, I don't feel like I have the ability to do that with the complexity and the nuance of this issue. And also, I don't know that my vote would reflect a personal opinion and not an opinion that I feel is representative of my community. And therefore, I feel that I can't do a yes/no on this. So, thanks.
Okay. Anyone? Dave, and then Bill.
I also want to echo a lot of what Jim said. You know, you hear me say the same thing. Stay in your lane. And I just have never felt that we should take up these things. We have a 40-year history of staying focused on our city and not taking these things up like Madison and Dane County. And I think our residents like that. I've talked to 5 former mayors, and they all said the same thing. No, we don't do this in Fitchburg. We stay focused on our city. I have very strong feelings about this. I'm not going to speak on those, but I have very strong feelings, and I have very keen knowledge of the historical. I've studied this a lot. I would tell you, I believe it was 1979. I cried when I watched Jimmy Carter put together Camp David Accords, where Israel gave back the Sinai Peninsula, and Menachem Begum and Anwar Sadat signed a peace treaty. I thought that was a sign of better things to come. Unfortunately, it didn't. But again, I don't want to speak on this one way or the other. I'm just saying this is not a city issue and should not have been brought before our board. Our residents have individual feelings on this. I prefer they make them known to their congresspeople. And I would have preferred that this resolution, that the alders take it and got citizens to sign it and provided it to Tammy Baldwin or Mark Pocan. I think that would have been more effective and wouldn't have been as divisive. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill?
I'm unaware of any official city policy as to whether we should ever get involved in issues bigger than our city. But the fact is, this resolution is before us. And if you read the actual resolution, it talks about de-escalation, prioritization of the truth, reconciliation, building a future, calling for the immediate release of all hostages and the cessation of hostilities towards civilians by all parties, urging our elected officials at the national level to oppose additional funding for military action against Israelis and Palestinians in this war. It urges us to facilitate sending humanitarian aid to people who need it. I have a hard time voting against peace.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Jay.
As I sit up here with people like Jim and Dave, who, we have our share of gray hairs, and I think we're the 3 oldest ones up here, and as long as we have been alive, there has been some sort of conflict going on in that broader section of the world. I don't have the answers to solve it. And maybe there never will be a solution. I don't know. I hope there is, because there's thousands of people who are dying. And that is not what should be expected from civilized people. We should expect that we find ways to get along with each other. Hamas is a terrorist organization. There is no question about that. Israel has gone way beyond what is reasonable in this situation. And I read the emails that came, and I heard references to Hamas using human shields, which they do. But because Hamas uses human shields doesn't mean it's okay to kill the human shields to get to the Hamas people. Because largely, the human shields are not guilty of doing anything except just living. I have been very sad about the way nations in that section of the world have chosen to engage with each other. It seems like mutual destruction is not a viable long-term policy, and yet that seems to be what everybody wants to do. So while I looked at this resolution and I thought it's hard for me, and Nicole and Nicole and Joel, I appreciate the time you spent drafting this, and I appreciate the emotions that are involved with it, and I share those emotions. I do, but I'm finding it hard to plot a path that says Fitchburg should get involved in this kind of a conflict when, the bottom line is, as long as I've been studying that area, I'm not an expert. I know what it takes to maintain roads in the city of Fitchburg, and I know what it takes to have a police department that functions and to have a fire department that functions. And while sometimes things don't go perfectly here, I know how those things work. I don't know how Middle Eastern politics works, even after years of watching it. I wish it would work better. And I wish I could say that an immediate ceasefire is the right answer, but I don't even know that that's the right answer. I just don't know. So because I don't really have a good answer for this. That's why I made the motion to table this indefinitely. While I had a hard time finding a way to vote yes on it, I also had a hard time finding a way to vote no. So if we table it indefinitely, then the motion dies, the resolution dies, but I hope that the motions that the people in this room have don't. And even if we're not on the same side on this issue, and I don't even know that there are two sides, because in some ways I feel like I'm firmly on both sides. Hopefully we can work with the broader community, not just our community here, but the world community, to try to find the world in a more peaceful place as time goes on.
Thank you. Okay, who's next? And then we are approaching the hour, so.
Sure. So Alder Vafadari and I had a conversation prior to this meeting about kind of finding the words and figuring out what it is that we need to say. And, I made an intentional decision to wait until everybody's spoken. First off, just echoing Alder Vafadari's statement, it was a very intentional decision on both of our parts to neither name Hamas nor the government of Israel, to really center this resolution on the loss of human life, which is happening, which is devastating, which when you speak with folks that have family in Israel, who have family in Gaza, the devastation and the loss of a human life, any human life, is unconscionable, and it hurts, and it has ripple effects. I will say, however, to everyone in the audience and everyone that was watching, I fully condemn the attacks of October 7th. I fully condemn the actions of Hamas as a terrorist organization. I'm going to be unequivocally clear about that. And former Mayor Clowder, thank you for your clarification at the beginning. I know we had a conversation weeks ago about this. This resolution does not affect policy. And I have introduced a resolution in the past that did not affect policy as well, an anti-Asian hate resolution in 2021, I believe. However, the impact of this resolution is to join the chorus of municipalities, organizations, faith groups across the world, including the United Nations, who have spoken out on this. What is happening is unconscionable. The death and destruction of human life is unconscionable. And this is what this resolution is about. Alder Vafadari and I, as she mentioned, have spoken to several members of the Jewish community, including residents of Fitchburg. And although we didn't completely come to an agreement with every single person we spoke with, the change in the language reflects the humanity that we seek as alders to introduce, which is that civilian loss of innocent life is wrong. It's wrong no matter who commits it. I can understand by kind of reading the room and reading the council how this may turn out, and I am completely content with whatever decision that our council makes and our city makes. I understand the impact that this may have on individuals, the trauma that it may bring up, the feelings that it may bring up, especially when there's such huge, long-lasting, multi-generational historical trauma that has affected Israelis, affected Palestinians, affected people of the Muslim and Jewish faith, and Christian faith as well. And I acknowledge and recognize that, and I see you. However, the ability to be silenced is not something that anybody that knows me will know that I represent. And this is something that my moral conscience, Alder Vafadari's moral conscience, compelled us to move forward. And although this is not a city issue and this is not city business, there is an impact and an intention behind what it is that we're doing. So I want to thank everybody who's spoken, regardless of where you sit on this issue, for bringing forward your statements. It's difficult, it's painful, and there's a lot behind it. However, both of us, when we introduced this resolution, intended not harm, not divisiveness, but peace. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so anyone else? No? Okay. So I will ask for roll call, please. Yeah.
This is on the motion to postpone indefinitely.
To postpone indefinitely, yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Allen?
Aye.
Alder Dantzler Jr.?
Nay.
Alder Gerhardt?
Aye.
Alder Herps?
Aye.
Alder Jetzer?
Nay.
Alder Maldonado?
Nay.
Alder Vafadari?
Nay.
Alder Wheeler?
Aye.
You have a tie.
Tie. Okay.
Four.
So it's my turn. Okay. So I thank you for everyone that came here to speak. I have my own personal opinion about this matter, and I don't want to share with my whole community because it's personal. I understand the people in the both sides, but I also believe this is not a city business, and I think we need to concentrate in what we were elected here is to work on issues and policy related to the city. Because of that, I base my opinion on that. This is not a city business. I will say aye. So the motion carried to table indefinitely. Okay, that's it. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for coming. So next we are moving to the administrative report. We are in item, six. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
No worries. A couple of events to start off for the council's awareness. Thursday, the 27th of June, there will be a ribbon cutting for the FitCore equipment that was donated by Inventure Capital. That has been installed in McKee Farms Park near the shelter. That ribbon cutting will be at 3:30 p.m. again this Thursday. On July 16th, I know that's a ways away, but we do not have a meeting on the 9th of July since that one's been canceled. July 16th at 4:30 p.m. will be the next Fitchburg Chamber Business After 4 event. That'll be held at the Flight Wine and Bourbon Bar in the Terra Vesta neighborhood on the city's east side. I wanted to inform the council and community that the library garage is currently unavailable due to an issue with the garage door that is currently being repaired. Unfortunately, we don't have an ETA as to when that door will be fixed and the garage will be operational. Our resurfacing of city streets continues. We've moved into the more urban area of the city for that resurfacing work. Assuming the weather continues to cooperate, generally speaking. Of course, we've had some heavy rain here and there. We hope to wrap that up soon. And after July 4th, we'll also begin chip sealing and other road maintenance work on designated roads in the city. Absentee ballots for the August primary are set to be mailed by our clerk's department later this week. So anyone who has requested an absentee ballot should likely receive that next week. I want to remind the Common Council you've been included in an appointment from Lisa Sanford in regards to the next strategic plan workshop with Common Council members and city department heads. That will be July 22nd. From 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. At the fire administrative offices at 5791 Lacey Road. Also like to remind our community that the survey for the strategic plan is open until July 19th. You can find a link to that survey utilizing the city's website, and each of the alders have QR codes that they can also share with constituents. If you're looking to obtain another way in accessing that survey. And then finally, in regards to the strategic plan, as a reminder, there are 2 community focus groups this week. The first one is June 26th at 5 p.m. and a second one at 6 p.m. at the Doxa Church located in the Southdale neighborhood. And then on June 27th, again at 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m., there'll be a focus group at the Hugo Jamestown Park Shelter in the Jamestown neighborhood. Again, I would encourage any residents who are listening or watching this meeting to participate in one of those focus groups. And alders, if you have constituents or listservs, please encourage participation in those. And the last item I have this evening is I just wanted the council and community to be aware of some fireworks-related matters. The last couple of 4th of July holidays have led to some notable issues in city parks, most notably McKee Park and Southdale Park. But there have been some other smaller issues in the vast majority of city parks. It's led to a significant amount of staff time to clean up the debris and other damage associated with the use of fireworks in city parks. We do want to remind our community that fireworks use is prohibited in city parks. We've done some proactive outreach efforts beginning this week through media and news flashes, as well as posting some signage at the entrance to a few of our parks to remind folks of the prohibition. In addition to the signage and the media and news flash outreach efforts, our fire department will be visiting the fireworks stands that have been erected in the city after they've been permitted to remind them of their legal responsibilities and what can and cannot be sold. And then our fire department and police department personnel will be providing some extra visibility in our city parks over the next couple of weeks in order to also discourage the use of fireworks. So if anyone has any questions related to that or any other matter, please let me know.
Okay, any question for Chad? Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for the city for the initiative on the fireworks. That's one of the biggest alders, that's the biggest complaints we get. And so we appreciate that initiative. I'll pass it on to residents. It won't stop. It's not going to stop it, but I think we are making an earnest effort to maybe get it under control. Thank you.
Okay. And Bill, yes.
Yeah, just a clarification on the library entrance. The door to the side of the garage door is still available for people who want to walk or bike in?
I believe that does unlock during business hours, although I'm not positive about that, unless if you used it before that way. during
I've
business
never
hours?
used the garage door. I've only used the door to the side. So,
Okay.
and it's been open during business hours.
Then
I
yes, that hasn't changed
Okay.
unless there's a safety concern. No? Okay.
Okay, any other question for Chad? Here are none. Okay, we move to 7. This commission and committees report. We will start with Plan Commission. Gabriela.
I'll start with the resolutions.
Yes.
I move approval of, hold on.
Ordinance.
I move approval of Ordinance 2024-016, amending Chapter 22 zoning ordinance to amend Article 3 relative to permitted and conditional uses in the Business Highway Zoning District, Section 22-310 relative to permitted uses, and Section 22-311 relative to conditional uses.
Second.
And Plan Commission did
Approve? Okay,
approve.
thank you. So what is this, Gabriela?
So this is a change to the business highway zoning. And specifically, it lays it out in the resolution, but it's to remove car and truck wash as an option, but still allowing a car wash if it is with a gas station or convenience store. It makes adult entertainment a conditional use, and it removes truck terminals as a conditional use.
Any question, comments? Okay, Bill.
Yeah, so it's the language in there specifically says gas stations. Are we not yet concerned about EV charging stations? That, you know, I mean, in the future, as the nation's fleet moves from gas to electric, I could easily imagine that gas stations could convert to EV charging and you know.
We can add like an EV charging
I mean,
station.
do we want to specifically say gas stations or fueling stations to make it more generic?
We can ask Diana is here. Okay, Diana?
Fueling stations?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening. I didn't consider that directly. I think it's a good point. We certainly could just exchange the word gas station for fueling station or something like that. I'm open for that.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to change that?
I move we amend the language to say fueling station instead of gas station.
Second. Second. I wonder if we should put additional language in there, because there may be need for hydrogen fueling stations as well. And I know fueling is kind of generic, but and it's a conditional use, so it's going to have to go through a different approval process anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just caution about
Yeah.
the number of amendments that are made to ordinances on the floor, just to get a little bit problematic to ensure that the spirit of what the council is trying to do aligns with what our legal responsibilities are in having the city attorney review language as well. So I would just caution that, and as Alder Allen pointed out, in the case of those sorts of things, a conditional use permit is required, which would require another layer of review through the Plan Commission.
Okay, anything else?
I just have a quick question. And sorry, my brain might not be working as quickly as it should be. Can someone explain to me the removal for the car and truck wash? I'm just trying to understand. Just like as a person who lives here, I notice like if I want to go to like a really nice squeaky clean car wash, I have to go outside of the city of Fitchburg. Is this going to make that harder or easier? Or I'm sure there's really good reason. Can someone explain to me kind of maybe this doesn't affect that at all?
Jay, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, I do. This will make it harder. Absolutely will make it harder.
And why do we want to make it harder?
So part of the reason for that is I think the city doesn't want to just see any place that's zoned business highway to just have, someone build a car wash there without going through without going through a little bit more extensive approval process. The car washes are kind of a special kind of use, and so going through the conditional use process allows much more thorough examination of it by Deanna and the planning staff to make sure that it's fitting in with the other things in the neighborhood. We have certain restrictions that kind of make it make it less feasible to do just a car wash all on their own right now, but they aren't as robust as I think we would like to see in our zoning code.
Deanna, would you mind sharing what the process would be for a car wash to obtain approval if this ordinance were to pass? That might be helpful for the council and the community.
Certainly, yes. So if this ordinance would pass, the only way a car wash would need to go through a planned development district approval process. So generally that would be part of a larger comprehensive development plan. And that would be looking at the entire kind of picture of a good development.
So I guess then my only question is maybe just musing, and I would love to understand more later. Like, does Fitchburg make it very hard to have a car wash here, and that's why we don't have any? It's making it sound like I love car washes. Yeah. That is not my intention. It's more of like if I have to go get a really nice car wash, I have to go somewhere else. But it's probably because my kids are gross and my car is disgusting. So I would love to understand more about that. Doesn't need to be here and now, but maybe Deanna, to your point, just understanding any historical stuff would be super helpful.
You want to add anything?
Yeah, a car wash facility tends to. Because it's a very auto-intensive development, it tends to create a lot of autos, and that if you are a neighboring business and you weren't planning on seeing a car wash there when you opened your business, and now all of a sudden there's going to be one, that can create some major problems. There's also certain aesthetics that are involved with having long lines of cars waiting to go into one business. There's some places where it might be perfectly fine, like out on the east side, the Mermaid Car Wash over there. That's basically got a huge parking lot, so the cars aren't spilling out onto the street and creating a problem. But you may not necessarily have that in a place in a regular business highway parcel that might be just floating around out in the city right now.
Thank you for that.
It just
That's
gives
helpful.
us a better review process.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comment? Okay, so all those in favor of Ordinance 2024-016 with we're changing the language for fueling?
Fueling.
Say aye.
Did we vote on the amendment?
No, it's a... Do we need an amendment?
Oh, yeah, that was an amendment. We have to
it's
vote
an
on the
amendment.
amendment
So
and then
yep,
vote on the
you are
motion.
correct. Vote on the
Okay, so
amendment.
all
and
those in
then
favor of to amend Ordinance 2024-016, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And now we need to...
vote on it as amended.
All those in favor of Ordinance 2024-016 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, next one.
I move approval of Ordinance 2024-020, request by Fred DeVillers, agent for IP Holdings LLC, to rezone property from PDD GIP, Plan Development District, General Implementation Plan, to PDD SIP, Plan Development District, Specific Implementation Plan, to allow for a residential development in the Swan Creek neighborhood on property located off East Sherrill Parkway.
Second.
Did the Plan Commission approve?
Plan approved.
Okay, so...
So this is the same project that we've been looking at in Swan Creek.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask, because we have two people to participant. Oh, this motion is amended.
Oh, yeah, I apologize. There were amendments. I move it as amended as laid out in the referral sheet.
Okay, thank you.
Changes to the minimum rear setbacks is what the changes were.
So we have Fred the Villers. He wishes to speak in support and to answer questions. He is the developer. And then Jordan Bishop, he also wishes to speak in support and answer questions, and he also is part of the development team. So I don't know, you want to add anything else?
No, I just wanted to thank the city staff and the Plan Commission and the council for all their guidance and input, comments to make this the best development we can make. Just want to really thank you.
Okay, well,
That's
thank
about
you.
it. And if there's any questions.
Okay. Gabriela, can you explain what is this?
Yeah, so this is that 60 single-family condo units in 6 single-family separate, but in the Swan Creek neighborhood off Sherrill Drive that we've been doing several approvals for. I think one of the changes we talked about was a connection to Sherrill Drive directly and sort of more in the middle.
The southeast corner along the north side of that infiltration basin.
Yeah, okay. And otherwise, it's pretty similar to what we've seen in the past.
Yeah. Jay?
Well, since you brought that up, this is going to have a connection to Sherrill?
Yes. Well, it's directly over to Crinkleroot. That's where the engineers were able to fit it in.
Well, because this drawing we're seeing and the stuff that's in the packet did not show that.
No, yeah, it's not there.
I thought, I mean, what we've been talking about all along is that there was not going to be a connection to Sherrill.
What kind of connection? Vehicular or pedestrian bicycle?
A vehicle.
There is no vehicle. It's pedestrian bicycle. It's what staff requested in the PDD GIP.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, sorry. And then the civil engineers work with staff to get that in.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Don't
That was a
freak
very
me out
poorly
out
described.
loud.
Yeah,
I
it was the
caught it.
pedestrian and bike.
So then the only other question I had is why did they change the rear setbacks?
Just to allow a little more flexibility for the home builders.
Okay. Oh, this was your idea.
Collectively, myself, a bunch of home builders, Deanna, Zach, just the entire team.
Okay.
Okay, any other question? Okay, Bill.
Yeah, with the change in the setbacks, these are pretty small lots. Are there utility easements?
Yes,
as
there will
part
be
of
utilities.
those setbacks, and is that like?
Well, the setback is a building setback, and there will be easements for all the utilities. Yes.
Okay, so I mean, effectively, the backyards are being squished, and so people have less area to plant whatever they want because they need to avoid the utility easement, right?
Well, we don't have a crystal ball to know what builders will build, but at the same time, we're trying to give builders the flexibility to build a house that the market will be willing to buy.
Okay, and the schematic drawings in the packet have, trees placed in there. So will
I've
those...
also worked with staff on a very extensive landscaping plan.
Okay, I just want to make sure that when those trees reach maturity, there's not a greater chance that during a storm such as we've seen in the recent weeks is going to, have branches on rooftops because those setbacks are a little shorter now.
Well, the planting of trees has nothing to do with the setback. The setback is for buildings.
Understood. Okay. But if the building comes a little closer to the lot line, a little closer to the tree, then the tree, when it falls, has a greater chance of hitting.
Yeah, but that one we don't have control of that, Bill. Okay.
And the homeowner can plant a tree wherever they want, other than in a utility or stormwater easement.
Okay, any other questions, comments? No? Okay, all those in favor of ordinance 2024-0-20 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the last time that we are seeing you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good luck.
Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
I move approval of Resolution R-13224, approving preliminary plat request PP 255124 by Jeff Hundley, agent for Winger Real Estate LLC, to approve a preliminary plat in order to subdivide one parcel into 7 parcels, including 6 buildable lots on property associated with 2975 Capac Road. And Plan Commission approved.
Second.
Okay, what is this, Gabriela?
So this is that same lot that we talked about the comprehensive development plan last time around. It's that like across on McKee and Fitchburg, next to the Winger Quarry, across from where the Target is. There's a next resolution is going to be about the rezone for this, but so this is the entire property that's included in the preliminary plat. The rezone will show you that they're only going to develop the housing in the 4 lots that front McKee Road, and I can talk more about that once we get to the rezone. But the preliminary plat's for the entire property. They did do a tree survey because that's now what the tree ordinance requires. There is forested area on part of the property, but there are no trees that require protection. The ones that are there are box elder, cottonwood, black walnut, et cetera, those types of trees that are not considered high quality. There will be a multi-use path on Fitchburg for pedestrians, but that actually does not extend down into the city of Madison property, unfortunately, but there will be that. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm misthinking that. There'll be a multi-use path along Fitchburg for pedestrians that are coming from like District 1 area over there. And then I'm going to talk more about the specifics of the lots when we get to the rezone section. But one other note, they're going to start planting trees along the backside of the property now, so they can start growing in, even though the development might not start until a little bit later. That's all for now.
Okay, thank you. Any comment, question? No? Okay, all those in favor of resolution R-132-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I move approval of ordinance 2024-019, zoning ordinance amendment granting general implementation plan zoning for rezone request RZ 255224 by Jeff Hundley, agent for Wingler Real Estate LLC, to rezone property from RD, rural development, to PDD-GIP, Planned Development District General Implementation Plan, to allow for a commercial and residential development on property associated with 2975 Capac Road.
Second.
And plan approved.
Okay, what is this?
So this is the rezone for that same thing we just did the preliminary plat for. It's only for that multifamily parcel that we talked about behind the quarry, and for the 4 lots that front McKee Road. And it's going to be similar to what we saw in last time, but the bigger property behind that they were talking about having either a big box store or like a strip mall of stores is not moving forward at this time, so that will be left vacant. And we did, based on the conversation at council last, I did ask about the potential for that being housing instead of retail. He said that's certainly possible. They're still looking at what the options would be, but he said there were big box stores interested. I also reiterated the council pointed out that we don't want large swaths of parking lots in that area, and asked about if we can do indoor or underground parking. He said that's a possibility, and I just said we would like to see that. But yes, so it's only related to those 4 at Front McKee Road and the residential.
Any questions, comments? Bill?
So one of the proposed businesses on the front 4 there is a car wash. Tell me what's happening.
What do you mean?
Well, we just voted to say that is no longer
But this is a potential
This is
business
PDD.
line. We haven't
Because
we have to
this
do
is
the process.
This is
PDD?
PDD GIP.
Okay.
It's not business highway.
Yeah, so different zoning. Okay, Jay.
Anytime we rezone something from RD, it's a good day. RD is it's an orphaned zoning classification that we have that we've been parcel by parcel, all those RD lots are disappearing, and so I'm very happy to see another one going away.
Okay, good to know. Okay. Any other comment, question? No? All those in favor of ordinance 2024-0-19, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ordinance passes. Next one.
I move approval of resolution R-13124, approving final plat request FP 255024 by Sherry Yu, agent for AY Development LLC, to obtain final plat approval to replat 4 existing lots into 15 buildable lots on the Terravesa neighborhood on property located off Brassica and Suelo Road.
Second.
Plan Commission approved.
Okay, what is this?
And this is basically 0 lot line homes, like they've been developing. You'll be familiar with it with other things that they've done in Terravesa. It's T4 zoning, and there'll be 15 lots.
Oh, I forgot to
And they will be
mention
home ownership. They'll be sold as separate units.
They just left. Okay, sorry. Okay, any other question for Gabriela? All those in favor of resolution R-131-24, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carried.
And I have an extra thing for the report, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
We did pass a conditional use and an ADR for 2 detached dwelling units on 5539 Clare Drive, the Fahey Fields duplexes. It's just an infill lot. It's kind of a strange little lot at the intersection of multiple roads near a roundabout, but it's a really nice development. It's going to be owner occupied. They look really high quality. So we approved that. Exciting to see kind of a nice little infill development that's going to be owner occupied. And then the staff did a report and said that the neighborhood plans continue, moving close to a final neighborhood plan for Stoner Prairie. There was a Greenfield Steering Committee meeting yesterday with the goal to come to a shared agreement. I can't speak to what happened on that, but that did happen. And then the community development specialist job closed as of last week, and there were 42 applications. So they're moving, which is obviously a good amount of applications. So we're moving forward with that process and hope to, I know Plan Department is looking forward to hiring somebody in the near future. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So next we move to the Board of Public Works.
R10424 approving TPP Amendment Number 2 related to reconstruction of Cyene Road, Phase 3, West Clayton Road to north of McCoy Road.
Second.
Did the Board of Public Works approve?
Public Works approved.
Did TTC approve?
TTC approved.
Did Plan Commission approve?
Plan approved.
Okay, thank you. What is this?
This is amendment, the MMSD had a sewage easement that originally we showed it in our TPP plan, but it is north of the area we're working on, so it doesn't need to be shown. So that's what this amendment is, moving that out of our plan.
Okay, any question, comment? Okay, all those in favor of resolution R-104-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
Move approval resolution R-107-24, Richardson Street and McKee Road, traffic signal cabinet repair.
Second.
Public Works approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
Finance approved.
Thank you. What is this?
So this winter, a vehicle, the traffic control is kind of in the median, and it was hit and knocked off. And so this is the cost what it costs. City of Madison maintains these for us to get a new cabinet, get it wired in and working. It was roughly a little less than $30,000, and the insurance of the vehicle that hit it will be paying for this.
Okay. So it's about $26,000.
Oh, 26.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. 20, maybe 29.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we are going to get the money back, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Any other question, comments? Okay, all those in favor of resolution R-107-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
Move approval resolution R-112-24, acceptance of North Fish Hatchery Road hub bids.
Second.
Public Works approved.
Did Park Commission approve?
Park Commission approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
Finance approved.
Okay, thank you. What is this?
So the successful bidder was roughly $4.25 million for this. Then we have a contingency of 10%, and with construction, they were the successful bidder. I'm just adding them with our construction oversight on this, which is around 10% of the project. We're up 5.2, Bill. Did that sound right?
4.7.
4.7, but that's with the contingency. That doesn't include the construction oversight.
Right. So there was $4 million of carryover, and we're asking for a $1 million amendment,
transfer.
and that encompassed the project plus the contingency plus some construction management. Yeah. Maybe Tim is on the line. Maybe
We
he's
have
got more
Tim, we have
specifics.
Adam, and we have Scott. So I don't know who wants to come to the microphone to clarify some of the points. But one thing that I want to mention, that we are using park dedication fees. We are not using taxpayer money. We are not using debt. So this is a good thing. Okay, Scott, do you want to add anything else about this project?
Do you want me to speak to it?
I don't know. You want to add anything else?
Well, in actually too, what was also included is the furniture cost to furnish the facility when it's built.
And I have some. I don't know. You have seen. We have some design here for the people that they have not seen this. So here is. Okay, you can pass along. Thank you, Chad. Okay, any comment, question? So I want to mention that we have been working in this project since 2019. The amendment to the CIP was put 2020. So it has been almost 5 years working in this project, and I think it's time that the neighbors in the North Fish Hatchery Road, they deserve this beautiful park because we are bringing a lot of development in the corridor, and we don't have any amenity right now. Yes.
I'm just curious if we know when the construction might be able to start.
Well, yeah.
Well, certainly there would be the process of getting the contract approved, and then shortly after that, they'd be able to begin, as soon as they could.
So, but we wouldn't expect it to be done this year?
No.
No, about a 12-month construction.
Okay, so sometime next summer.
Maybe the fall of, summer or fall of 2025.
Late summer, fall 2025.
Yeah.
Add that previously, we had asked the successful bidder for a breakdown of what the costs were for different parts of it, and that was provided in the packet.
Yeah. Okay, we need 2/3 of the vote because it's an amendment to the budget. And so I'm going to ask for roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Allen.
Aye.
Alder Dantzler Jr.
Aye.
Alder Gerhart.
Aye.
Alder Herbst.
Aye.
Alder Jetzer.
Aye.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Bafadari.
Aye.
Alder Wheeler.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. I am very happy. We're moving forward. Thank you, Council. Okay, next one.
Move approval of Resolution R-12824, approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Fitchburg and the Town of Dunn for pavement replacement on Schneider Drive.
Second.
Public Works approved.
The Finance Committee approved?
Finance approved.
Okay, what is this date?
So there's about a quarter mile of Schneider Drive that is in the City of Fitchburg.
Oh.
And the Town of Dunn, they actually they applied for a grant, for our portion also, and they were successful in getting that. But I think our portion of the cost for this quarter mile is $19,000, I believe, or roughly $19,000.
Dave, it was amended in Public Works, so you are moving the resolution as amended?
So to clarify, the amendment was done by staff with actual dollars.
Okay.
So you got at Board of Public Works were the estimates, and then after the Board of Public Works, the actual dollars came in. So there is an amendment that's been posted on the referral sheet that reflects actual costs.
Okay.
Finance passed as amended. I guess I clarified that.
Okay, so we are approving.
So I would move that we approve this amended resolution.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any question, comment?
Yes. Chad, so looking at the amended resolution, there was a section that said for a total cost to the city of $19,854.33, and that's been redlined out. So is there a cost to the city, or did we forget to put the cost to the city in here, or what did we do?
Where is Tim? Okay. Where is that?
So the cost to the city would actually be $14,000, so it's that $64,000 is the total cost, and then the grant money we received is $50,596. So it's that difference that's coming out of the city's pocket.
Put that actual number in here instead of just crossing that section out completely?
Where is that?
Page 560 of 666.
556?
Page 12 of 12 for this section. Maybe that's
12
easier.
12.
Are you on the intergovernmental agreement?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I'm on the resolution. The whereas with the red line.
But it's, the amount is there. You have the 64 and the 50.
Right, but the phrase for a total cost to the city has been crossed out. So it lists the 64,000 and the 50,600, but it doesn't do the subtraction and explicitly lists the 13.5 net cost to the city.
I don't know. We are reading something different. I don't know.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to amend this to put for a total cost to the city of whatever the correct number is. Someone can do the math.
Second.
Okay, so all those in favor of the amendment to the resolution, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment passes. And now all those in favor of the resolution as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, next one.
Move approval resolution R-129-24, accepting 2023 compliance maintenance annual report for the
Second.
wastewater collection system. Board of Public Works approved. So this is an annual requirement that the city puts together. This report, I won't go into all the details, but we are rating of 4, which is the top rating for our wastewater collection system. Bill, do you recall anything else on that? That we have. We also talked about. Question came up about televising our system, and Tracy talked about that. Trying to televise the areas where we have clay sewage instead of other type of pipe. But again, we've had a rating of 4 or higher really as long as I can remember on this. So we have a well-run wastewater collection system in our city.
Okay.
Is there a question?
Any questions, comment? All those in favor of resolution R-129-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution passes. Okay. Next, we move to Park Commission. Okay.
Move
it's you.
approval of resolution R-124-24, authorizing the return of a 2023 cash donation.
Second.
Parks approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
Finance approved.
Okay, what is this?
So this is a sad, we had the death of the teacher walking in the morning on Sain Road, and her husband offered the city $1,000, or gave the city $1,000 to put up a bench and maybe trees, a little memorial. And during the course of that, we looked for a spot. Couldn't really find a good location, and he is debating moving also. So in discussion between him and the parks, he felt it might be best to return this, and then we left it open with him in the future. We'd like to do this in the future. We'd be glad to try to accommodate it again in the future, but apparently we couldn't find a good location, and then with him moving, it was just hard to get something settled. A little disappointing, but I believe he is the one requesting the return.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay. All those in favor of resolution R-124-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
Move approval of resolution R-125-24, authorizing the rejection of bids for the Stoner Prairie Park plan implementation.
Second.
Parks approved.
Did Finance Committee approve?
Finance approved.
Okay, thank you. What is this?
So we came in over bid on this. It included the shelter and a playground, and the bids came in higher than our estimate, and we're rebidding with some options. We felt that possibly the building, the one that people that do the building, they don't necessarily do the playground, so they would have to subcontract that out, and then they'd have to put their adder on it, and we feel that might have pushed us over, so we're rebidding with a little more flexibility, and so someone may bid on the building, someone may bid on the playground, or someone may bid on both of them again, but we're going out to bid, hopefully getting a better price.
Okay, I have two people, Nicole and then Jay.
I have a question that might not be a thing, but we mentioned the other day that when the police station and the fire station buy radios, we buy them together so we get a better deal. Do we ever do that with playgrounds, like thinking about the McKee Farms Park playground stuff? Is it ever advantageous to bid those two things together to see if we can get like a better deal on that?
Well, that's a very good idea. I don't know if the stars ever align, Nicole, that would work, but Scott is still here. Here's your comment. Like right now, we're working on Arrowhead Park, redoing that playground. So I'll let him address that. I don't think he would have any opposition to that, or would probably encourage it if the timing of them ever worked out. But
And typically we'll do one playground per year, so it doesn't really allow us to do two, but certainly that would be a good idea if we would do two at one time in one calendar year.
Because this playground isn't slated to be built in 25. Is that a correct statement?
Well, hopefully it'd be, depending on when the contractor would install it, they would have it up until June of 2025 to install it. The idea is to have it as an alternate, and then the city could certainly decide whether or not to select the alternate from the bid, and if we don't decide to take it, then we would rebid just the playground.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Oh, Jay, sorry.
Yeah, this was a little confusing to me, and Dave's explanation didn't clarify it at all. So it looks like we got 3 bids on this. One was from a company that only bid on the shelter, right?
Correct.
And their bid was $271,000 for the shelter.
Correct.
And the other 2 companies that are doing the whole thing, one of them was $154,000 and one of them was $180,000. So they are both like $100,000 less to build this shelter than the company that only wants to build the shelter.
That's what the bids were. I don't know what.
How much was in the CIP for this?
About 400 we have.
Oh, so we were way over.
Yeah, we were over. Yeah.
Any other question, comment? All those in favor of resolution R-125-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Madam Mayor, just one other thing from Parks. Last time we reviewed Scott went over the Parks operations budget with the committee at the last meeting.
Okay. Thank you. So next we move to the next commissions, and we start with the Library Board.
Nothing to report.
Commission on Aging Well.
The only thing is just to keep on a lookout for the newsletters and things that come out that are being sent. And you probably have received an invitation or a phone call from Ms. Hughes by now. If you haven't received one, you'll be getting one. She's asking each of us to just come do a Meet Your Alders at the Senior Center. So I believe one of the dates is August 7th, and I forget the other one. 21st, yeah. So if you can, I definitely I'm going to do it, and I think it would be good for us to go out there and meet the individuals and say hello to the seniors at the center.
Okay, so this is a good idea. RCC?
We have not met since last time. We will next meet on July 8th.
Okay, TTC?
We have not met since last time. We will next meet on July 11th.
Okay. SIDA?
We are meeting on Thursday.
Oh,
Okay. Ag and Rural Affairs Committee?
Yes, we met last week and had really good conversation. We had a local small business come in and give an update on their really cool use of technology and herd infection detection. It was very sciencey and awesome, which was really great. And we also had really good sciencey and awesome. It's very technical update. And we had some really great conversation around some water management and such. So it was a great meeting.
Thank you. Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission.
Our next meeting is August 6th at 7:30 a.m.
Thank you. EMS,
Nothing to report.
Healthy Neighborhood Committee.
We have no report.
Okay. Housing Advisory Committee.
No report.
Landmark Preservation Commission.
We have no report.
Okay. Tree Advisory Committee.
We met last week as well. We had just a great thank you to everybody on that committee for giving me a great onboarding. We reviewed some really important plans and just really impressed overall at the savviness of our forester and our parks department, just in terms of how they find grants and funding and really try and hustle to not spend city funds on a lot of what they do. So just a huge thank you and a shout out to that group.
It's a good group.
Yes.
Okay, so next we have report from other commission and committee. What about Donald, about the new committee?
You said me?
Yeah.
Oh, the equity committee. We had our first meeting. Basically, that one was just a time for people to really get to know each other, establish roles and what the committee is going to do in terms of objectives, meet the chair and the vice chair, and share some ideas around what individuals would like to see from that committee as it relates to the city of Fitchburg, was what we did for the most part. And then we're going to go do some more brainstorming and bring things back to basically create like some outcomes or goals that the committee is going to see within the first year of formulating that committee. And that's where we stand right now.
Okay. Thank you, Donna. Okay, so now we move to the standing committees report, and we will start with Finance Committee.
I'll move approval of Resolution R10524, police purchase of UTM training kits.
Second.
And the finance did approve.
Okay, what is this, Gabriel?
Basically, it's a.
Oh, here it is.
Oh.
Do you want?
Do you want to give the? Basically, this is devices to help the officers use their actual firearms in training scenarios, and we have some, but we want to invest in more, and we have some vacancy savings in the ammunition budget in order to pay for these.
Well said.
Okay.
That's exactly it. Yes.
Do you want to add anything else, Drew?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to add anything else? Or?
No, it's a training need for our department
Okay.
that our instructors have identified. We have the money from the ammunition budget, and this equipment is needed.
Okay. Any question, comments? No? All those in favor of resolution R-105-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. Okay, thank you.
I move approval of Resolution R12224, authorizing the purchase of professional services for public outreach and education regarding a potential referendum, Phase 3.
Second.
And finance did approved.
Okay, I don't know, you want
So-
to explain, then chat.
Well, yeah, so I mean, staff basically is anticipating the council potentially moving forward with a resolution come August. And so this would be the third phase with Mueller Communications. It'd be authorizes the contract for 3 direct mailings and 7 information meetings to do education about the potential referendum. And there is a budget amendment because there's required because of the request that we talked about to have some more public involvement, some translation services, et cetera. So that's why there's an increased cost.
Thank you, Alder Gerhardt. You have summed it up quite well. Basically, yes, this is the third phase of the proposed contract that had been presented back in the fall by Miller Communications in regards to the communications and outreach services they provide for the what is anticipated to be the forthcoming referendum this fall. So obviously, in order to proceed into Phase 3 of that initially proposed contract with the additional costs that Alder Gerhardt had mentioned, we need council approval to move forward.
This is an amendment to the budget, so we will need 2/3 of the vote. Okay, any question, comment? Yes.
Yeah, so you said 7 information sessions?
That's what I said, yes.
All right.
3 mailings and 7 information sessions.
I see in here we have dates, kind of, like the week of something or other. Have we started making any contacts about what potential locations could be?
No, and we will work with the alders on those dates. I think our intention right now is to have one of each of those 4 of the 7 sessions within each aldermanic district. So we'll work with the district alders to confirm availability on a particular date, time, and location as well. And then our other thought is in addition to the 4 sessions, 1 in each district, we could do possibly 3 virtual sessions as well, so that folks who might be unable to attend in person could participate in 1 or more virtual listening sessions or information sessions. We're largely modeling this off of what the Verona School District had done with their referendum.
Have they, has Mueller really gotten the message that the bilingual aspect of this is critically important?
They have a lot of translate.
I know they write things down, but you know, some of the things they've written down and presented to us have not been accurate. So I just want to make sure they recognize that this is vitally important.
Yes, all parties involved, including staff and the consultant, have taken the feedback into consideration, and that's what's reflected in this updated proposal.
Groovy.
Okay, any other comments about this? Okay, we need roll call because we need 2/3 of the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Allen.
Aye.
Alder Dantzler Jr.
Aye.
Alder Gerhardt.
Aye.
Alder Herbst.
Aye.
Alder Jetzer.
Aye.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Vafadari.
Aye.
Alder Wheeler.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next one.
I move approval of R12624, authorizing the purchase of human resource payroll system advisory services.
Second.
Finance approved.
Okay, so what is this?
This is a request from staff to hire Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA, to help assess a new software for payroll. This is very specifically needed because we did an evaluation. Well, we used to do nothing but paper timesheets. And then I guess around 2017, the staff did some analysis and decided that we needed to move to electronic. And they decided to hire Paylocity. That started in 2018. The problem with Paylocity is that it was not able to handle police department timesheets because of the complexity of how timesheets work in the police department. And so they still, to this day, remain using paper timesheets, which is inefficient for everyone involved. And so there's an interest in taking a look at that again and seeing if they can find an HR payroll software that is better suited to the complexities and the uniqueness of local government, given the constraints on staff time and also just picking the right software is important, because if we don't do it right the first time, then we'll have to do another selection, another implementation. It's a huge waste of time and money. So they felt that it was needed to get some outside help. And this contract with GFOA will be for both selection of a potential software, working through a contract, and doing the implementation. So it's guidance throughout the process. And they did not bid this out, but GFOA has a really good reputation for this type of local government work, and given how specific local government needs are, the staff felt it was justified to go with this without bidding it out. And it is pricey, but the memo lays it out pretty well.
Okay, so I don't know, Misty, do you want to add anything else to this?
Nothing else to add. Gabriella did a fantastic job summarizing it. So thank you.
And we are paying this with ARPA funds or TIT money. I don't know what it is now. It's ARPA money?
So some of it is TID closure money,
Okay.
and for this particular contract, and then if we do go to a new software, the current software provider, we pay annual fees to. And we expect that would continue with the new software provider if we choose to change options.
Okay. Any question? Joe?
Sorry. So this is a charge to actually purchase the system. What would the ongoing or?
So it's not to purchase the system. It's literally a consultant to help select.
Got it.
Work out the contract and then implement the software. So the payment for the software would be separate, but staff anticipates that whatever the software will cost would be the same or less than what Paylocity costs. So the ongoing cost to the city should be around the same as what it is now. because we'd be switching softwares and not adding something.
How much do we pay for Paylocity? Do we know? I don't know.
It's in the budget document. I want to say it's 50 to 60,000 a year. It's based on the number of employees that we have.
Oh, okay. Jay.
So I'm not necessarily opposed to hiring consultants, but this is something that it seems like we're not breaking new ground here. I mean, every municipality around us has to have a payroll system of some sort, and they all have police departments. And if what are other municipalities using? Can't we just make a phone call and say, hey, how are you dealing with all this? And see what other municipalities are doing. Why do we need to hire a consultant to do this? I mean, I realize that you have lots and lots of spare time, and Misty, and you probably don't need that taken up with making phone calls. But I don't know, it just seems like a strange thing to require a consultant for.
Jim, and then Gabriela.
I think Gabriela was first.
Okay, Gabriela.
Yeah, so I guess I can't speak to payroll software, but speaking in my profession, we use databases for donors, and I have worked with lots of databases, all of which are insufficient for what the needs are. There's always a problem with them. But when we look to change, it's a really difficult thing to do, and you can talk to other people about what they use, but the use case is very specific for each individual organization, and talking to another organization is not a perfect analysis, and just because it works for another government locally doesn't necessarily mean it's the best option for us going forward. So I would just say that is, of course it's possible, but if we have the funding that's not taxpayer money to do some real analysis and find the best tool, maybe what they find is not going to be what any municipality in Wisconsin is using. I don't know. But having done similar things to that in my professional life separately, I think it can be worthwhile. Because picking the wrong one is very expensive. And we won't know if it's the wrong one until we start using it. And then it's already too late.
Jim?
Pretty much Gabriella said it all. I mean, we had experiences in Madison with changing the payroll system. And when you're looking at contracts, civilians, and everything else that goes into the payroll, it's very complicated. I think you do need a consultant.
I'm sure it is complicated. I just can't. I'm just having a hard time believing that companies that write payroll software and presumably do this for a living are incompetent enough that they can't write it so that it works for. I mean,
you should believe it. I have an entire consulting practice based on helping. I mean, to this point, I think I think your question is super fair, Jay, actually, of like, if it was just the technology selection, I might be like, although a tool selection is super important, but I think writing the use cases and saying like, okay, how is Fitchburg the same and what's the 20% that's maybe different? And then I see like some training being referenced in here. And so unless I'm reading that incorrectly, because that would be my other kind of question of like, in what way, I know there's technical documentation, which is super important, like just trying to be mindful of ongoing updates and making sure that we do leave this group with a really good system that meets all of their functional requirements. I think is super important.
And if I also may add, in addition to that, Alder Vafadari, the implementation phase is a portion of this cost too.
Sweet.
So we will have, my understanding is 2 dedicated staff from this company or this organization that will aid in the implementation of whatever software is ultimately selected. And I think that is a key component, recognizing the limitations that we have in staff capacity and expertise on the implementation side.
And I'm going to say from my professional life too, because we are always looking for accounting software, looking for software, doing the demo, then you choose the software, and then you doing the implementation. It takes a lot of time, and resources, and you need people that specialize on that to guide you. I don't know. That one is, yeah, it's kind of expensive. Yes, I get it. But I
Well,
want to
I'm-
tell you, this is an accounting software, a robust accounting software. It can cost you $80,000-$70,000 a year.
I'm
You know what I mean?
sure. Yeah. I mean, when I had employees, it was costing me between $10,000 and $12,000 a year, and I had a lot fewer employees. But there's just a certain floor that it costs because they have to produce all the W-2s every year and all that nonsense. So, and make sure that the checks get delivered on time, and so I did one of the questions I was going to ask, but I see it's answered in here, was whether we'd be planning on doing this like in the middle of the year or on January 1st, because then you have to deal with transferring, and sometimes software companies, when you switch from them, are not real keen on readily giving you the information that is yours. So
It's January 1st, 2024.
yeah.
Okay, any other comment, question? And also it's gonna, we are gonna free that some time from, what is the name of the person doing the payroll sometime?
Kim, our payroll.
Because Kim, sometime I have seen her working long hours because she had to manually enter in Paylocity all the police department time card, and it's a very manually process. You know what I mean? And so this new software is gonna change that. So okay, all those in favor of what here we are approving resolution R-126-24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Can I add one more thing to my report?
Yes.
During the director's report, Misty shared the treasurer's report, the most recent treasurer's report, and Bill had a good question about how we decide where to invest our money that we have. And Misty talked about how we have a policy around that, and the priorities are in order: a safe investment, then a liquid investment so we can access the cash, and then the third consideration is the return on investment. So safety and liquidity above all else. So but we have some pretty good rates on CDs because of the the favorable interest rates. So it's a little bit of a mix. But I thought that was interesting, and we do have a policy around that. Wanted to share that. Second, we had the special finance meeting last night to go through the CIP, and I want to thank Bill was there as a member, but I also want to thank the mayor and Alder Vafadari and Alder Herbst for showing up and being great and asking good questions. And thanks to the staff all the department heads for being there to kind of walk through. I think it's a really helpful way to go through it. I recommend that everyone takes a look at that if you can. At minimum, listen to the mayor and Misty's overview because it goes through a lot of the changes. But you can, if you watch it on YouTube, you can watch it at 2 times speed. So you can spend less than the 3 hours that we spent listening to it. So yeah, it's a good presentation. So check it out. And then the CIP amendments are due next Friday. Misty sent out the worksheets to send it in and recommends contacting staff before submitting on Friday.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next we move to Personnel Committee. Where is Personnel?
Donald just left. We have not met since the last meeting.
Okay, thank you for covering. Public Safety and Human Services.
We have met, but we have nothing additional to report other than there's weddings and birthday parties happening with frequent occurrence.
Okay, thank you. So next we move to new business, and we have a direct referral. Who's going to do this? Someone from TTC.
I'll do this. Yeah, and I need to apologize. I had said earlier that TTC had not met since our last meeting. We actually met 2 days after, not the previous. I had a little bit of a mix-up. And so I'll just give you a little bit of a overview. We discussed some.
You're going to talk about TTC first?
Yeah, if I could.
Okay.
Yeah. So at our TTC meeting, we discussed some Vision Zero grant opportunities, and if we have a Vision Zero resolution that will unlock further grants that we're eligible for. We talked about the transit and extending the 65 and 75 routes and the existing Route B and how that's part of our potential referendum. And Ross had, in his staff report, had mentioned that the city of Madison approved the locally preferred alternative for BRT on June 4th, and that the city of Fitchburg has been meeting with Madison and Dane County regarding BRT on Fish Hatchery Road, and the county has some concerns. And since Ross is here, do you want to say just a few words about that to keep everybody informed here? I don't want to put you on a spot, but I'm doing it.
No, that's okay. We've met once with the county, with the city of Madison, since the city of Madison is kind of the lead on the BRT project. And we're set to have another meeting with the county, just between the city of Fitchburg and the county, since all of the county's concerns are within Fitchburg city limits. That meeting is not until late August, so it'll be a while before we have a resolution on that.
Okay. Now I'll move approval on resolution R13324 to oppose Beltline capacity expansion.
Second.
Okay, what is this, Bill?
Yeah, Ross, do you want me to introduce it or do you want to do the honors here?
We can talk about
I think it would be best if you introduce
Okay.
it. I'm kind of just here to answer context questions about the Beltline study or anything else that I can help with.
Quick question. I think we got some emails about this. Is there no?
No.
Maybe they were individual.
See you.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and do it. Yeah, so the Wisconsin Department of Transportation's draft preferred strategy package for the Beltline Planning and Environmental Linkages study, the Beltline PEL, calls for new lanes to be added to the Beltline, and adding capacity to the Beltline has got a number of adverse effects, and they are enumerated in the text of the resolution. It goes against the city's and the county's climate goals. It increases noise pollution, gaseous pollution, particulate matter, air pollution, especially in neighboring communities, which include 3 of our 4 H&I neighborhoods. So in putting this resolution together, if we approve this, that will give Ross an opportunity to submit official comments back to the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, which has a deadline of June 30th.
And can I add a little bit to it as well?
Yeah, okay, who I have, because I have many people and I want to speak too. So we have Gabriela, Joe, Dave, and then I go from Nicole.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good one. So
Jay.
this came out of a conversation at TTC, and worked with one of the original language was suggested by a TTC member to Bill and I, and Bill mostly worked on the updates, and then we did run it by staff, and so Ross had some comments incorporated as well, but it was generated based on that conversation in TTC.
Okay, Joe.
See, I knew I wasn't imagining this. I got an email individually from a resident.
Okay.
Same. Okay, I'm just going to read it. All right. I hope you're doing well. As you may have seen, there's a resolution on the council agenda for Tuesday regarding the proposed Beltline expansion. And then I attended both open houses WISDOT held on the project, and the attendees overwhelmingly wanted to see WISDOT prioritize biking, walking, and transit expansion. While WISDOT admits there was not support for an additional lane on the Beltline, they moved forward with adding an additional lane. We now know that adding a lane actually increases traffic, so it will not solve any congestion problems on the Beltline. What we need to do is pull cars off the road by having people take transit, ride bikes, etc.
Okay, yeah, Dave.
Was there any other options offered by the DOT? Obviously expanding that, but a different south route or anything? Was this take it or leave it from the DOT?
I take it since you're looking up at the screen.
Yeah,
that's a question to me.
Yes.
Very insightful.
So there are multiple other projects and options involved in the Beltline PEL study. There's various overpasses and underpasses, both for motor vehicles and bikes and pedestrians. There's also a lot of transit prioritization at the traffic signals that go over the Beltline on the existing overpasses. And then there's various other options as well, like park and rides and partial lane additions, like extending the flex lane, stuff like that. And then also standard like interchange improvements to some of the problem interchanges like John Nolan or
Verona Road.
Some of the other big ones.
Thank you.
Okay. Nicole?
Yeah, I just wanted to share, I also got an email from a constituent who supports this opposition. And am I correct in understanding that, was it clear, does Madison think they have space to add this to the Beltline, or they don't?
Is it DOT?
Sorry, does the DOT know?
They can buy land.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to share that I think this opposition is a great idea, not to mention the call-outs to asthma and environmental contributions as well. So thank you for bringing it.
Jay?
Yeah, Ross, I've got a few questions. There's a, would they be, if they did this, would they be basically eliminating the flex lane and converting that into an additional traffic lane permanently?
They haven't really gotten that quite that far to specifically call that out, but I assume that would be one of the options or one of the things they'd consider.
Because there's obviously, as Nicole was alluding to, there's obviously sections where there isn't enough space to add an additional lane without getting rid of some buildings. And so that obviously drives the cost up quite a bit when you have to acquire right-of-way that includes buildings. It also, I mean, many of the grade-separated crossings involve overpasses that don't have enough space underneath. So now you're talking about a project that once it starts would probably go for years by the time you dismantle all those bridges and try to widen the space underneath them, not to mention the fact that those spans are going to get awfully long. I mean, this is going to be, I don't think it's going to dwarf the Marquette interchange cost, but it's going to be very pricey.
Yes, billions and billions.
Yeah, I think those are good observations. Just for some context on the Beltline PEL study, the sections with lane expansions proposed to go into the next phase, NEPA, which is National Environmental Planning Act, I believe is that acronym. And it wouldn't go into that phase until sometime in the 2030s is what they have in their plans right now. And then it would obviously be longer after that before this was designed and constructed. So this is a very long-term plan that would involve multiple, probably dozens of different construction projects.
I see. Well, there's a chance that I won't be here in 2050, so maybe maybe I won't have to deal with it, but it just sounds like a disaster to me.
Okay. Thank you. Then I'm going to make my personal comment here because I think I am supporting this resolution because I think expanding the belt line, we are not solving. We are we are also increasing the dependency on car or vehicle. I think we need to think about public transportation. The city is investing a lot of millions of dollars in the future in expansion of the BRT, in public transportation. We are, so I think all this expansion are going to affect negatively on continue investing in public transportation. So, and with that, we didn't consider all the damage to our environment too. So I am happy that very supportive of this. So I want to make my personal opinion here. So any other comment, question?
If we pass this resolution, which it sounds like it's going to, where are we going to send it?
I don't know.
Well, before you answer that, Ross, I just want to be clear to what the expectation is for action from staff. Is the expectation and direction that the resolution that's being passed is shared with the DOT? That would be my thought. Clearly, I didn't know that if there were any other expectation for any further comments from the staff. I think it becomes a bit problematic, potentially, to expect staff comments related to this, unless, Ross, you were feeling like there are other comments that needed to be provided other than sharing the resolution that's been passed by council, or likely to be passed by council.
No, that was kind of my assumption, unless directed otherwise, was to share this resolution.
Yeah, we can share this today. Yes, so.
2 questions. One, apart from the recommendation, how much power do we have in their say? And then 2, are other municipalities, i.e. Madison, Middleton, Monona, places that border the Beltline, are they saying similar things, or are their residents saying similar things?
The first one. They're going to follow.
Trailblazers. All right. Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, I don't know about any official action being taken by other municipalities, but we did receive, I think council and mayor received an email from Steve Arnold, who said he was on some sort of a board or commission, and, obviously hearsay, but he said that neighboring communities were almost universally against adding capacity. So take that for what it's worth.
Okay, yes.
Well, I think we should send this to lots of places. Like, I think we should send it to Dane County. I think we should send it to Middleton. I think we should send it to Monona. I think we should send it to the city of Madison, of course. But, unfortunately, there's not a single section of the Beltline that actually falls within the city of Fitchburg boundaries.
Yeah.
So our boundary doesn't go to the Beltline.
No, it doesn't.
Nope, it doesn't.
But it affects us, it's there, it's looking at us.
It affects us, but it's not land that we necessarily have any kind of control over. So I think we need to make sure everybody knows where we're at, and if we're the first ones to pass one, then yay. Maybe that gives other communities the willingness to step up and say, hey, we oppose this too.
So just to clarify, like, I'm looking at a Google map in between Highway 18 and 14 and Rimrock Road. It shows Fitchburg has a border with the Beltline in that section. Is that incorrect or inaccurate?
Our jurisdictional boundary stops at the beginning of the Beltline.
Got it.
At the right of way,
At the right of way,
Honestly, though, it
yes.
doesn't matter because everyone's part of this PEL group in the region because our cars drive on the Beltline. Like, we're relevant regardless of whether or not it touches our borders. And the PEL has both like an advisory committee and like a committee made up of staff, if I'm not mistaken, Ross, where they actually have staff from different municipalities commenting on this. So, and they involve everybody in the region because we all have constituents that drive on the Beltline, present company included.
I have another process question. So who ultimately decides this? Does DOT as a department just sign off on this, or is this like a legislative decision in the state? So does the I guess the state assembly and senate and governor would ultimately? Okay. I mean, I would.
Yeah,
maybe
because
then,
it's going to require billions and billions of dollars to be,
right.
approved to fund this project,
So I guess what I would say, in addition to informing DOT, is that we also send a copy of our past resolution to our state elected officials that represent this area and the governor.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All those in favor of resolution?
Just if I may, real quick, Ross, I assume there's a contact at DOT that this is shared with, correct?
Yes, I don't know if the place that they want comments delivered is directly to the DOT project manager's inbox or if there's a separate inbox, but there is a DOT project manager.
Okay, so we'll obviously follow the protocol that's been identified through the process to submit this resolution that is, again, likely to pass. We certainly can identify who our state elected officials are, as well as the governor, although I'm curious if this is that far in the planning process that they will have any awareness of what's taking place at this point in time. Do you have any insight into that, Ross, about exactly where we are, since you referenced that nothing is likely to happen until the 2030s on this? I just don't want it to get lost in the shuffle of elected officials here.
I want to tell you that I was okay. Oh, sorry. I was in a meeting 2-3 years ago with my rep and someone from DOT, the secretary, came and did a presentation about the expansion of the. So this has been in the pipeline for a long time, this project. So I remember it was like 2-3 years ago that I heard about this future expansion. So I don't know. But.
Yeah, I think that the individual members of the state legislature, I'm not sure, but I assume that the governor at least has awareness of this. For the phase of this planning study that we're currently at and considering what proposals get moved forward into the environmental planning stage, I don't believe that needs legislative approval. Obviously, like was previously said, eventually before this stuff gets built, this will require lots of money that will need to be approved by a lot of different people. But again, that's very far in the future and a lot of steps ahead of where we are right now.
Okay. All those in favor of resolution R-133-24 say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Ross.
Your Honor, with no objection, I would ask that a line be added to the end of this resolution that says that this was passed unanimously by the Fitchburg Common Council.
Okay.
Does that need a second? I don't know how that works.
It can just be added in.
I take the amendments. Okay, so I move into the mayor report. So I want to mention a couple of things. We have two opening in the Transit and Transportation Committee. So I am looking for someone with technical skill. If we can find an engineer, the better. So you have people in some of the constituents, please send it to apply, okay? And we have another opening in what is the other? The Board of Appeal?
I'd have to double check.
Yeah, there is another opening, yes. Also want to thank everyone involved in the CIP. A strategic plan, we need to do a better job to promote the survey. The idea is to get 1,000 of surveying completed, and we only have 371 so far. So please try to move this to your constituents. You can grab some of these. They are a box in Adam's office. They are in Spanish and English. And maybe you are bored one afternoon and you can work your neighborhood. Take a couple of these and put it in some mailboxes. I don't know. This is what I am doing. You know what I mean? And knock the door. This is some idea. There is a QR code.
Clarify on the door.
You can outside the mailboxes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. You understand what I'm saying. You have done doors, so you know what are the things that you can do? So there is a QR code. It's easy for them. Please help that. The other thing is we are working. We have started working with the union contract. We started with the first meeting with the police union, and then on July 9 we are having our first meeting with the fire department. So we already have scheduled a couple of meetings to going through this union contract. We want to finalize before budget time. There is going to be an event on Thursday. Did you mention the ninja equipment? Okay. So please come at 3:30 McKeefer Park. We are going to do the ribbon cutting from the core fit equipment at 3:30 p.m. What else? The other thing that I will send you an email for you. We need to, as you know, Rob Concy is the Chief of Emergency Management for the city, and he has been putting together and updating our plan. I am meeting with him monthly to go through this plan and to have an update. And one of the things that we need to do as an elected official is we need to be prepared how to handle an emergency. And there are some training. So we need to do a national incident management system overview for senior official and an elected official. It's a class. It's a 4-hour. It's going to be. We are going to try to do it with the Madison. I don't know. Madison Council too, or some. Okay. The course is being held by the city of. But yes, but then the idea is that it will be great that we do this training class. It's 4 hours, and I need to know. I am planning to send you an email with more detail about this class and the link. You need to tell me what is the best time to do it. I imagine it's in after work for most of us, and we are planning to do this in the fall. But I think it's a good training because if something happens, an emergency right now, as a mayor, I don't know what I need to do, and I don't know if you know what to do. What is your role? So we need to know about all of these things. So, okay, that's it. This is for now. What else? Okay, so now we are going to go to the ALDE reports. I'm going to start with District 4.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just a few updates. I won't steal thunder. Kudos to Joe and the Teen Center meeting that was run recently. That was really great. Just a little snippet. Not only was the food delicious, but talking to the students, I am consistently reminded that if you just ask teenagers what they need, they will actually very much tell you. And the interns were really fantastic. Just wanted to give an extra shout out to Misty for and all the department heads for that CIP meeting yesterday. It was super informative. A couple other things. The Seminole neighborhood is hosting their annual 4th of July parade. It's actually really fun. Madam Mayor and I have been to it before. I used to help lead it. It's at 10 a.m. at Chicory Meadow Park, and the firefighters come and they lead the line with a big fire truck. So all are welcome. 10 a.m. at Chicory Meadow Park on the 4th. And then I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate and acknowledge the passing of one of our foundational community members. Paul Lacey passed away recently. He's a cornerstone of this community. If you've ever driven on Lacey Road, you have taken part in his legacy. He farmed here until he was 90. He had 8 daughters. Apparently he was part of a traveling quartet, which I had no idea and brought me a ton of joy knowing. But he passed away. He was 99. So we just want to acknowledge his contributions to our community. And then lastly, I just want to acknowledge here, it was brought up during the Rural and Ag Committee, some feedback about the survey and the mention of specific neighborhoods. And some members mentioned that they felt a little left out. with the rural area not being included as a neighborhood. And I just wanted to just say, Madam Mayor, I really appreciate your response on kind of addressing that and saying that wasn't at all our intention, and working with the consultant to try and update that. So just wanted to share that here. That's it for my report.
Got a call from a constituent about Adams Road, right near where the solar farm is being built.
Oh, yeah.
About the road, just every time it rains, it washes out. I went out there one time after rainfall, and you could just see where all the gravel and everything just went across the road. So I'll send something to Ross and Tim. Also, I already commended Nicole. I'm crashing and burning right now.
Hey, I couldn't remember Joe's name. So.
What time is for you now? Like 6 hours ahead? Yeah.
It's pretty early in the morning, Italy time. I already commended Nicole on her words, and Joe, I want to commend you on yours, and also for trying to come to some conclusion or some compromise on the words, and just going out and getting the feedback and everything. I know I sent you something, so I was glad to see that was incorporated. So I commend both of you on the work that you've done on this. That's it.
Okay. Jay?
Just a couple of things. Hartung property is moving forward. Those buildings are going up pretty fast, and they're going to be doing some more blasting tomorrow. So I just found out about it earlier today, and I posted something because the neighborhoods when the blasting was going on were a little bit disturbed. Also, the Rusty Bee is scheduled to open on July 8th.
Okay.
So since I won't be able to see any of you on July 9th because our meetings are canceled, please come and see me at the Rusty Bee.
What is the Rusty Bee, Jay?
It is the new bar that's opening 2 blocks away from where I live. So I'll be able to walk there.
Okay, thank you. Dixie Chu.
I attended the opening of the Bon Bon Belle Bridal Boutique, and it was really lovely. The store is beautiful. Apparently, they have most of their gowns are like exclusive to the store, so they get people coming in from like other states to buy certain dresses. Really nice company. Really great owners and great employees. So it's a really nice add to the community, and it's a smaller business. This is not a massive chain. This is a local. They have multiple locations, but they're local to the Midwest. I wanted to thank the Public Works crew. I can't remember when exactly they installed them, but they put these permanent signs in so that during events in McKee Farms Park, they can just open the no parking sign rather than having to put the little stakes in every single time. And I think those are working really well. And I appreciate the creativity to create a permanent solution. So thanks to Public Works for doing that. I think it's successful.
Keeping on the McKee Farms Park theme, we had the first concert at McKee on the 17th. It was well attended, and there were plenty of delicious items at the food carts.
Good band, too.
Excellent band, yes. That's a subjective statement, though. Tennis courts are still under construction, and I believe there's been some sort of a delay in getting the contractor or the construction materials for the Pro Bounce surface. And the new crosswalk has been well received by the path users. I've heard people say good things about it. And the only other update I wanted to point out is that Richardson Street is currently being resurfaced. They have chewed up the surface from Lacey down to Charleston.
Thank you. Joe.
Yeah, a little late on this, but I wanted to congratulate all the graduates of Verona Area High School, especially Aiden and Saul, my son and nephew, finished high school. And I also want to promote, since we're missing our July meeting, the Move and Groove for BGC fundraiser on July 20th, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. at McKee Farms Park. register move4bgc.rallybound.org if you want to sign up or register a team. There is a series of different events going on in the Allied Dunce Marsh neighborhood. There was an event, I didn't make it, on June 24th. There's also one coming up on July 8th from 5 to 8 at Allied Park. It's hosted by the City of Madison, and there's one on July 12th, 5:30 to 7:30, a community meal at Allied Park. So a lot of stuff going on in the neighborhood. And just adding to Alder Vafadari for the Teen Center open house, I really just want to show my appreciation to all the staff who was able to come through, as well as members of the community, members of the council, and the mayor for your support. The young people were incredibly, they had a very clear vision of where they wanted to go. So I'm grateful for them being a part of this project.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question about that? I wanted to go to that, and that day was not cooperating with me. Is there a video of it that's online somewhere?
Yeah, FACTv did record it, and there's an additional planned workshop. It hasn't been set, but it will likely be in August as well. So make sure to inform the council well in advance.
Okay, David.
A couple of things. We're continuing to work on the community action plan for speed control on Williamsburg Way and King James Way. As Chad mentioned, this focus group strategic planning Thursday night at 5 and 6:30 at the Jamestown Heagle. Joe mentioned the Madison Park Nights Out on July 8th. I also believe they're having bike repair on that night also. And I'm working with the project Literacy or Reading to get the van over to, trying to set a date to get the van over to the King James Park here this summer. So that's all I had.
Thank you. Donald, do you want to add something from your council?
Not at this time.
No? Okay. So next we move to announcement, and our next committee of the whole meeting, it will be tomorrow.
Can I?
Yes.
I just wanted to share what we're going to talk about.
Okay, yes.
We're going to have the financial management plan presentation from our finance director and Ellers, which is important context before we go into the CIP process. It's something we do annually, so I think it'll be really interesting. And the second item will be from our administrator, a Fitchburg, Oregon collaborative development discussion. Chad wants to kind of give you some insight into discussions that are being had with Village of Oregon. And the goal is 1.5 hours of meeting.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And next Common Council meeting will be July 23rd. So we don't have our first meeting in July. So remember that. So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourning at 10:17. Thank you very much. Good night. Buenas noches.